Afternoon, everybody. We apologize for that. We will get back into our meeting at 5:46 p.m.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Ida. Good evening. Chairman Commissioners Judy Rodriguez, planner with the City of Socorro. We'll continue with the next item of the agenda, which is item number 6. And this is a rezoning request application for the property at 11580 North Loop Drive. We'll now proceed with the general information, beginning with an overview of the property. The property is located at 11580 North Loop Drive. Legal description is being tracked to B3A48 and 4H, Block 11, Socorro Grande. The property owner is Plaza Real Estate, Martha Grijalva, who is also acting as her own authorized representative. The lot size is 14 acres. Zoning, it's an A1, agriculture. Current land use is vacant. Future land use is a rural residential. Summary request is for approval of a rezoning of a property from A1 agriculture to GMU, general mixed use, to allow for commercial and residential development. And staff recommends approval of the rezoning request with condition that a master zoning plan MZP be submitted, reviewed, and approved in accordance with the ordinance. Now we have the zoning map where the subject property is outlined in white. The green shading denotes the A1 agriculture. The surrounding zonings are R1 in yellow, which is a single family residential, R2, medium density residential in orange, and C2 general commercial in red. Followed by the future land use map from our Socorro 2040 comprehensive plan, where the subject property is outlined in red. The beige color represents the rural residential zoning district, surrounded by regional commercial in red and suburban residential in yellow. Now we have an aerial image of the property, which is outlined in yellow. The site contains an existing structure but is currently vacant and has the red axis of frontage along North Loop Drive. Surrounding land uses include established residential subdivisions to the east and vacant land to the west, and additional undeveloped tracts nearby. Then we have some photos of the property. The top image shows the property is viewed from North Loop Drive, and the bottom image shows the property from the right rear side. This slide shows the public notice map highlighting the area within the 200 feet of the property that was notified as required by law regarding the proposed rezoning. Followed by the public notice letter that were mailed both in English and Spanish to property owners within those 200 feet around the subject property. And no support has been received in person, by mail, by phone, or via email. However, we did receive 2 calls requesting information and expressing concerns. Then we have the conceptual plan. This plan is just conceptual, but it's not a final plan. Here we can see the applicant's proposed concept, including residential and commercial buildings, landscaping areas, parking, and the access point to the property. During the pre-development meeting, staff emphasized that the applicant needed to coordinate with TxDOT for access from North Loop Drive, and with El Paso County Water Improvement District Number 1 for the canal crossing. And the applicant was also informed that all related development costs are responsibility of the property owner. This plan, the conceptual plan, doesn't specify any number of units or their square footage because it's just conceptual, okay? First, no, could you please? First, let me just explain a little bit of what is the purpose of the general mixed use zoning districts, as this is the first time a rezoning request to general mixed use is being presented. The general mixed-use zoning district is intended to provide flexibility for the integrated development of residential, neighborhood, commercial, and institutional uses within a single unified plan. It promotes a coordinated approach to land development while helping preserve the city's historic and rural character. And some general mixed-use developments are guided by several key design principles, and we have some of them: encouraging infill and redevelopment within existing neighborhoods, providing a mix of housing types and densities, promoting walkable mixed-use environments, integrating residential, commercial, and civic uses rather than separate them, including parks, open spaces, and community gathering areas, reducing the visual and functional dominance of vehicles being secondary in design. So according to, could you please go back? According to section 46, a master zoning plan is required for all general mixed-use rezoning applications and must be submitted with the application. This plan must include enough detail for the City Council to evaluate land use, compatibility, and potential impacts on surrounding properties. And also, it's important to note that minor modifications to a submitted or approved master zoning plan may be authorized by the city planner if they are not that significant or modify the overall development intensity, layout, or impacts of the project. With all that said, after staff review and discussion with the applicant has chosen to move forward with the general mixed-use rezoning based on just a conceptual map plan. Staff explained that a master zoning plan is required, but the applicant wishes to proceed at this time, understanding that a complete master zone plan will still be required and must be approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council before any development activity. And once again, summary request is for approval of rezoning a property from A1, agriculture, to GMU, general mixed use, to allow for commercial and residential development. And at this time, the staff and the applicant, Ms. Mejia, we're available to answer any question you may have. Thank you.
I have a quick question. The applicants are here, right?
Correct,
Yes?
yes.
Do you mind stepping up? I just got a couple of questions.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mayela Mejia, and I'm the business consultant for Mr. and Mr. Melendez. They've owned this property for about 3.5 years, and seeing the growth that's happening in Socorro, they wanted to be a part of enhancing the community, and we're not here to change. We met with staff for almost a year. It's been almost 9 months or 10 months that we met with staff. We do understand the requirements, and we're not here to just build something that is not going to go with the master plan that the city has. We're here to enhance and to make the community better, and we are going to meet with staff, and we're also going to meet with the water district so that we can, that is definitely, we're here to work together. We're not here to come and, you know, do their own. And you can hear from the owners, but they are, they're aware that there's a lot of residential areas in that section, but there isn't any commercial as far as stores and things that they could just even walk. So looking at walkable communities in the city of El Paso, for example, Montesio, of course, not to that level, but they thought that having mixed use would help the community so that they don't have to get in their car and drive. And as you can see across the street, the residential area is just booming. So there's nothing, there's I think a gas, where they sell gas next door, that business next to the lot. So there isn't any stores or anything where they could just walk and, you know, get the basic supplies. So that's what we want to do. We're not here to change anything. We want to be a part of the community and not to change what you guys are already building.
Yes, ma'am.
So-
And that was actually one of my questions. I just really wanted to make sure that you guys understand, especially seeing the WID here. You've got to be sure that you're in compliance with them and that it's gonna function and because, you know, that's a big hurdle that you've got to cross and stuff. And then my second question was, is there I don't remember if I heard anything, whether there was a dedication easement for the future expanding of North Loop.
We did talk about that, so go ahead, Ms.
No,
King.
no, no,
Oh,
go ahead.
So we did, whatever we need to do, they're willing to do it, to dedicate whatever it needs.
Okay.
Whatever we need to do just to make, you know, to make sure that we're helping as well, so we're not.
That's
you know,
great, that's great,
yes.
because yeah, that's a big issue that we've had along North Loop.
Yes,
We're really trying to push TxDOT to, you know, come in faster than, I know there's been a feasibility study already, and it's a long process, but we're trying to push them to where, you know, I know that businesses have to come in and more rooftops and all that for them to, you know, pressure them to come in quicker than what they probably would or whatnot, but
right.
I'm glad you guys, you know, are willing to work with us on that.
Oh, absolutely, right? So they understand the process, and we, like I said, it's gonna almost be a year that we've been working on this, so we work very close with staff, and they're so amazing, and they make it easy to work with. And we do understand we do have to come back and do the master zoning plan, so we do understand, and we're gonna do everything that is required on our behalf.
So I have a question. So I think there's some concern from the water district. I guess if they're asking for engineering plans, I would assume that you guys haven't submitted that to them so that they could review them?
No, we haven't.
Because it looks like there's some concern with irrigation rights for some that still have them in that area.
Right.
And so I would have concerns about approving a plan and not really thoroughly getting all the information that is required to make sure that in fact you can put these buildings there.
Right, and we will work with them if what we have, the vision we have doesn't work. As far as the mixed use, I mean, we don't have an actual, they don't know how many buildings, they don't know. We're still gonna work with everybody that we need to work with in order to make that, right, that decision. So we don't have a set amount of residential or a set amount of commercial. So that's what we wanted to do, is come before you to see if it was approved, so that we can move forward with working with the other entities. We did speak to Mr. Teran, Mr. Miguel Teran works with you. So he was aware, but I think he stepped down because he's now gonna be our next, county commissioner. So, we did reach out, but we haven't, done any engineering plans or anything, but we will do whatever is required of us to work together with the community.
I have a question for the Water Improvement District, if possible.
Who's, Mr. Reza or?
Go ahead.
I have a question for staff. The procedures are clear that a master zoning plan needs to be submitted with the application. If they submit it, if we approve this with conditions, does the master zoning plan come back before this commission?
Correct. So no development can take place until the master zoning plan is approved.
So then why is staff approving this with condition? What's the difference between it fulfilling the requirements as the ordinance requires of all the
Would have
residents?
been if they had come with the plan, complete, ready to go with the densities, the dedication of, not just North Loop, but the side road, abutting the properties that the gentleman was discussing to the north part of their property, the landscape, the commercial part, so the whole plan, they weren't ready to develop that and submit it yet. They're just asking for your consideration with the request for this as a general mixed-use zone.
Mr. Reza?
So that answered some questions in regards to the water. That leaves, again, right, once we rezone it to commercial, it can pretty much go any route at that point, correct? And
If
we're
it,
gonna-
if it were commercial, but this request
It's
is
gonna
for
be
general,
mixed use.
this is general mixed use.
Correct.
It allows some flexibility. With the layout, the fact that you can have both commercial and residential. So that is their request before you today.
At that point, there is commercial and mixed use, right?
Yes.
So it couldn't go any route in the commercial aspect. rather
Not
than
just, not
doing-
any route. Do you have the list of what some of the commercial types of uses that would be allowed in general mixed use? So it's not heavy density or heavy activity
Okay.
commercial mixed use. It's meant to be,
Retail,
to create these walkable communities, still keeping in the character of our future.
no warehousing, no anything like that.
Yeah, so still also keeping in the character of the future land use map, which asks for rural estate, so it can still, by their design, could still have a rural feel to it, even though it's apartments, even though it has some commercial.
I guess my question is, why not bring this back once the requirements of the ordinance are met?
That was the request of the applicant. They'd kind of been working on it for a while and just wanted to keep moving forward. But your recommendation can be to not deny their request, but maybe
Table
if they're interested in tabling it till they're ready to move forward, that would definitely be an option.
And also, so the cost involved, right? So just for the conceptual plan, that was $5,600, right? So the cost that comes with preparing for this, so to go ahead and do the next phase, we'd have to, of course, spend more money. And we do have to come, we understand we still have to come before the planning and zoning. So there's nothing that we can do anyways if it's approved with, what is it?
With the condition.
With a
So-
condition. So if it's approved with a condition, we really can't do anything until we come back with the master.
And I think that's my point. I mean, the ordinance is written as a requirement to bring it forth with a master and zoning plan, and so I feel uncomfortable. That's written in our ordinance, it's a requirement, and that has to happen anyways. And so, unfortunately, I just don't feel comfortable approving it as is today.
I apologize. Quick, we have a caller, Diana Martinez. She just joined the call. Do you want me to address her right now? Or do you want me to address her to the next item?
No, if she is, we've already closed the public hearing for this item, so after this item.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think it's uncomfortable because of the fact that we might be opening doors that we don't want to open. You know, I think that as a master plan, I think I'm just concerned about the reasoning why you want to go this route and not just have thrown it all out there for us, okay?
Right.
Because I'm concerned about, number one, water rights. When you say that, you know, there maybe not, are we gonna cut off people that,
So that is that's the process, right? If the property has water rights, they need to submit an irrigable plat to the Water Improvement District. And we would not approve a final plat for this property until that irrigable plat has been submitted and approved by the Water Improvement District.
okay,
In
so
that
why
plat,
not?
they need to identify what they're going to do with the water rights, if they're keeping them, or they're distributing it to the development itself, if they are giving it to the Lower Valley Water District. And if it is the case, and it's the case in this instance, where you have to make sure that the flow continues on to the recipients of the water on the canal and downstream, that is clear and unobstructed, and the easement is included in the plat, both the irrigable plat and the plat that gets submitted separately to the Planning and Zoning Department. But it would be important for their development plan to have all of that in place, to know where that easement is going to be.
I have a comment on the water rights. An attorney a few years back told me, he said, David, there's regarding irrigation rights, he said, there's God, and then there's the state of Texas, and then there's irrigation rights. And meaning in the state of Texas, irrigation rights go with the land, and it is very difficult to give away those rights or to sell those rights. What happens a lot of times, and this is again an attorney explaining it to me, is saying developers sometimes tend to overlook and get away with not honoring those rights, and sometimes municipalities as well, in order to push the development through. And usually it falls on the landowners that have those irrigation rights to just stay on the forefront and make sure that they retain those rights and that access. In this case, I think everybody's on board to make sure that the irrigation rights are honored. But at the end, irrigation rights in Texas are right up at the top.
I agree with that. WID really on top of their stuff, and any rights that they have or easements or any community, any canals that go through there, whatnot, almost for sure will not be touched. I don't know if I can have somebody from the Water Improvement District just come up, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, you know, how the WID works. If there's a canal there, it's gonna stay there probably 99.9%, 100%, right?
That's correct.
And if there's water running to a certain, if there's a community ditch, per se, that feeds, you know, 7 lots or whatnot, those people have to get their water. They can't be blocked or anything, correct?
Correct. So if they have water rights, even ourselves, when we're cement lining our canals, if there's a
Right.
churn out there, even if it hasn't been used in years, if the land has water rights, we cannot remove the turnout,
Correct.
and it will stay.
So in other words, whatever they do or whatnot, it's gotta go through you, and it's gotta be approved by you.
Correct.
If it's not approved by you, then that's the risk that they take, and I mean, they've gotta follow your ordinances and your rules, and
Yes, and that's for all lands that have water rights.
Right.
In this case, they also have water rights, so we work with them as well, as
Correct.
long as all easements are respected.
right, okay, and you guys understand that fully? Okay.
And that's why we want to work together
If you could step into the mic.
And I'm sorry, and one more thing, and maybe this to the public, because I know there's a lot of them that this is gonna affect or whatnot. To everybody in the audience, right, if you have water rights right now, they can be taken away from you just because the developer goes in there and builds or whatnot. They have to find, they've gotta go to the WID and follow their rules, and they can't just take away your water rights. Okay?
I have,
That's the only question I had for the WID.
regarding the master plan. It's a master plan for that parcel only is what is in the ordinance, correct? Everything that you listed right now, easement, access onto North Loop.
Correct.
And so that would be a full set of plans that we're used to seeing, like when a developer.
Not a plat, probably more in line with what you see when we have a rezoning to the ICMUD, where everything is laid out, and that is a plan that they had to adhere to. They can't change their mind later. If they need to make a minor amendment, that can be done administratively, but if it's a major change, it needs to come back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for recommendation and to City Council for approval.
Okay. And so let's assume that if this goes through, it can get approval from planning and zoning for the rezoning to the mixed use, and then it can get approved by city council. At that point, it's rezoned to general mixed use.
No,
with
it has a condition. It has a condition, and it can't move forward until they
But
bring the.
the development can't move forward, but at that point, it's already rezoned. Let's assume that it gets passed here and then it goes to city council and they pass it. So it gets rezoned to mixed use, but we have that condition. But even if they don't come back with any conditions or with a master plan in the future, it's already rezoned.
No, because it's got the condition that it needs to satisfy before it can get rezoned.
So then why present and ask to be voted on?
For their comfort in knowing that they can go ahead and make the investment and move forward is my best guess, but you can ask the applicant.
That's correct. Like I mentioned before, the cost for the plans for anything that we have to do. So if it wasn't going to get approved, then we didn't want to move forward with doing anything else. So we want to make sure before we move forward with this development. And like we said, we're not here to change anything that you guys are working on. We're here to work together, and we're not here to change or bring something that is not of Socorro. Mr. Melendez has his business here on, he has a trucking company there, and he's been there for a long time. So he's a part of Socorro, and he doesn't want to see any changes as much. I did hear that a lot of the agricultural land is people are looking at rezoning because nobody is using the land for the use anymore. So that's why Mr. Melendez wanted to go ahead and invest, and not in something that is not going to be useful for Socorro, something that is going to enhance. And we're here to work together. We understand we have to go through TxDOT, and we did meet with the utilities. We did talk to gas company, and they said that this development would help to bring the residential area behind, right? We could get gas through our development to them. So we're here to help your community. We're not here to change or to do anything that is out of what you have planned.
If I may, again, speaking from, I don't think that's the concern. The concern is that the ordinance requires a master zoning plan to be submitted with the application that's in front of us. I understand that and empathetic to the understanding that there's an investment to the master and zoning plan. That's going to need to happen anyways. And in the next step, there are still what ifs. But as the ordinance is written right now for the city of Socorro and everybody who submits applications, it's a requirement for master and zoning. Right. And it is, I'm going to go ahead and fulfill my role to ensure that we follow that ordinance. So again, I have no concern, or I'm not talking to what you plan to do. My focus right now is the ordinance as it's written. The requirement is a master and zoning plan. I just don't know why we would come back to do this
Right.
over and over again.
And that's what we're requesting with conditions. So we understand that, we can't do anything without the conditions, right? So we wanted to see if we could move forward with, I think this would be the first mixed-use development here in Socorro. So we wanted to bring something different that could help the community. And we just wanted to make sure, see how you guys feel, if we could get it approved with conditions, we're fine with that. So we can move forward in scheduling meetings so that we could work on that master plan.
Do you have a ballpark dollar amount of what a master plan would cost you? Just a general idea.
I have no idea. But I'm sure it's more than 20,000 because this conceptual plan was 5,600. So, and we had to go back and forth with this one. So that's why we want to make sure that it's approved with conditions. We just want to see if that's something that you would want to see on North Loop.
Well, I guess I understand everything that's here, or that's being presented. I think overall it's 15 acres, is what it is, right? And so I understand the ordinance part, the master plan part, but the bigger question that crosses my mind is, let's say this is denied, and then down the line, we're getting presented with another warehouse, for example, right? Or high-density apartments or something. I mean, this is, overall, I think the concept is good. I think it's good. I think that's what SCORE is looking for
And
overall.
I agree. I think that this is something that Socorro needs. I think it's, if there's conditions, I wouldn't want the applicant to walk away, is what I would say, is I wouldn't want the applicant to walk away and not come back again, because we might end up with something that we don't want.
I also agree with that, and just, the only reason is, that's why we have conditions that we can
Then we can incorporate a condition.
incorporate into there or whatnot. I just, I feel the same way you guys do, and my main focus was just to make you guys understand and really understand that there's some hurdles that you guys have to cross.
And
If you
we
guys
do.
are willing to cross those hurdles, and at the end it doesn't work out right, it was at your expense or whatnot.
Correct.
But I am happy to see businesses come, and again, I know it's a frustration to a lot of the public because it's on North Loop and there's a lot of traffic. I myself live right off of North Loop, and it takes me 5-10 minutes sometimes just to get on North Loop. I deal with that struggle every single day. But again, I go back to wanting to bring businesses, more rooftops or whatnot, so that TxDOT can actually come out and really do what they need to do.
Right.
I fear that, if it gets to a halt, we already have a problem with the traffic. And if it comes to a halt, that problem's gonna be there forever. But if we push them, and again, there's growing pains, when the city grows, it's growing pains, and it's uncomfortable, and it's frustrating, but that's a growth. And, yeah, I just want you guys to understand that there's a lot of hurdles that you guys gotta go through.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely understand. I'll be the one leading this project, so I give you my word, there is nothing gonna be there that the community is not wanting. We wanted mixed use because we understand walking to the store and not having to use your car, right? We see it in the city of El Paso, how nice it is to not have to get in your car and get through that traffic and just be able to go buy milk or bread with the basics. So that's what they want to bring. They're not thinking of bringing anything that is not going to enhance what your master plan is. And what we want. We want, it's gonna have his name, and he wants to do something that the community, we feel, is in need of, which is a mixed use. And we are proud, hopefully if it gets approved, to be the first of this type of community in Socorro, which will hopefully bring more mixed use to the city.
I also want to make it clear to the public also, right, that this is just, just a step. It's the planning and zoning. We're here only just to make our recommendation to city council. Whatever happens today or whatnot, you guys can still go to city council and they have the last vote on this, okay? We're just making our recommendation to city council. And from there, I don't have any questions.
No, I don't have
No?
any questions, no.
You, Mr. Estrada?
So I don't have any doubt that you and the owners have all the best of intentions, but things happen economically, financially, life happens. And so I'm wanting clarification if, for example, the applicant for whatever reason changes their mind, right? And a year later, does this go or does it stay on the books as a rezoned parcel to mixed use if the condition is never met? Because it'll
No,
get passed.
it will remain A1 until the condition is met.
It'll remain A1 until the condition is met.
And if somebody else, if they were to sell the property, then that would be another zoning application.
Okay.
I think this is just like a step that it's just, you know, just to, correct,
Yeah.
With more money.
Right.
right.
Okay, another question, I'm looking at, if I can find it. Okay, so I'm looking at this sheet right here, right? And so I'm wondering, are these parcels right here, are they currently landlocked?
They have access, as the gentleman who spoke second, they have a road, a dirt road that's a private easement that connects them to North Loop. I don't know if you want to go to the aerial and maybe zoom in?
Okay, so private road on whose parcel, on the
On all of theirs,
applicant's?
it runs along all of theirs. So that would be another item that we would request, and is that this parcel dedicate their proportionate share for a future road along the edge of that property.
Okay, so
To connect
the existing private road comes across all those parcels?
all those parcels.
Okay, and then, so part of what you'll, or the city will be requesting is that the applicant dedicate their share. Is that what I understood?
Yes.
Which is how much, how wide? 50 feet, 30 feet,
No,
20 feet? I don't
15?
have no idea. 15?
15.
Okay, and the applicant is
Oh,
willing to dedicate?
But this also is, again, something that can be discussed as part of their plan. If their design is unique and can offer something that's beneficial to them and to the city, maybe something else can be worked out. But if this were just any other development, the city would request that section of the road for a future road on that side. The city does not have plans to build a road for the other side currently, but that is something that could be brought forward considering that this new development is coming now.
And you guys are okay with if nobody would be landlocked, you guys are okay with that and open to dedication to an accessibility easement for them also?
Yes, of course, yes, definitely.
So I understood from the gentleman that he doesn't have any water running to these parcels?
Was that correct? That these
Those
parcels that we are looking at, north, east,
There's no
west
water
of the
service?
yellow line, they don't have water and sewer. Yeah, there are still pockets in Socorro that do not have water and sewer, and this is one of them.
The irrigation ditch is on the side of the road facing what we want to cross.
Okay. Okay.
Teresa?
Okay.
Carrillo? No? David? I still see you kind of,
No, I'm good.
you ready to vote? You ready? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve with staff recommendations for the rezoning with the condition of, that the zoning plan be submitted, reviewed, and approved in accordance with the ordinance.
I second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approve, second by Yolanda Rodriguez with staff recommendations. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Any abstain?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to item number 7, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and
Thank you so
rezoning.
much. Thank you.
And rezoning of Lot 8, Block 4, Villa España, located at 10484 El Cid Drive, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from R1, Single Family Residential, to R2, Medium Density Residential, with a variance from Section 46-2602 to allow for 10 dwelling units exceeding the 8 minimum permittable units in a R2 zoning district. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon, everybody. We will open public hearing at 6:28.
So I have Ms. Diana Martinez on the line. Let me just address her. Caller with the number 0224. Can you hear me?
Hello? I can barely hear anybody.
Okay. Are you calling an item to call an item? Are you calling on behalf of an item?
Yes, it was on the water permit for the detention center, and I just wanted to say that we need to deny the water permit for the detention center. The detention center is going to, how can I say, it's going to be a human rights crisis, and water should be going towards supporting the community and agriculture and supporting life and nurturing life, rather than going towards an institution that will take away people's humanity.
I don't think this is on the agenda, right?
No, thank you, ma'am, for your comments. That item is not related to anything that we currently have on the agenda. If you'd like to reach out to staff, we can help you find the item that you maybe were looking at.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have a speaker, Mr. Jesus Arellano.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jesus Arellano. I live in 10492 El Cid, and I'm here to give my 2 cents regarding the rezoning of 10484 El Cid. I believe they want to build 10 apartments. The area is really, really small. Even the entrance to that property is very small. I strongly believe that the single-family dwellings instead of apartments, because right now there's existing a duplex, and the years I've been living there for 40-odd years, I've seen in those duplex domestic violence, drug dealing, and there's a lot of traffic there. I believe that the area they're trying to develop for 10 apartments is too small. It's really too small. Hopefully, this thing won't get through, and because there's a lot of kids in there, and traffic is one of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Luz Arellano?
Buenas tardes. ¿Permiso para hablar en español?
Sí.
Ok. Sí, mi nombre es Luz Arellano. Soy la esposa del señor Jesús Arellano. Nosotros estamos ahí viviendo como más de 40 años y hemos tenido problemas con esos apartamentos porque pues entra gente, sale gente, entra gente, pero ha habido de todo, violencia. Salen los carros, como está derecho para la calle, salen los carros nomás así. Hasta hemos tenido, yo tuve que llamar a la policía porque había drug trafficking ahí. Para mí, yo ya no tengo niños en la casa, pero tengo nietos. Entonces, para mí, esa área que aquí ponen, que hasta una fire truck puede entrar por ahí, pues nomás puede entrar, pero ya no va a poder salir porque no hay modo. Inclusive, los apartamentos que están ahí ahorita, no tienen yarda. Los niños andan ahí por donde pasa el vecino. Entonces, no hay yarda por atrás, como aquí lo indican, que puede haber acá, entrar la fire truck, que hay parking spaces, y puede regresar por atrás, donde están los dos duplexes, no hay yarda por donde pueda salir o entrar emergencia. Entonces, yo no estoy de acuerdo que los pongan. Ahí duramos ya, como le digo, más de 40 años y hasta ahora quieren poner apartamentos. Entonces mi pregunta es esa, ¿la zona esa es residencial o va a ser comercial? Porque mi yarda está muy grande y yo puedo hacer apartamentos atrás, pero no he hecho apartamentos porque se me ha dicho no se puede. Entonces, ahorita lo que a mí me interesa son mis nietos, que ellos entran y salen y ellos nomás van por su renta y no saben si, no hay ni cemento, no hay banqueta, no hay nada. Entonces, por favor, yo les suplico que no den su permiso para que finquen ahí. Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Michael Menchaca?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Michael Anthony Menchaca, and my family and I have lived in El Cid for over 40 years. I want to describe what this street actually is in real life. El Cid is not a through street or a corridor. It functions like a closed residential system. We have cul-de-sac conditions, limited turning space, and homes that directly face each other with driveways entering into a narrow shared space. This is a multi-generational block. Families, older residents, children, people who walk, who use the street slowly and locally. The way this street works today depends on low traffic, predictability among neighbors. This proposal changes that. It introduces a level of activity and movement that this street was simply not designed to handle. I'm asking you to see this not as a vacant lot, but as part of a living neighborhood system that already functions in a specific way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cristina Menchaca Dominguez?
Hi, good evening. My name is Cristina Menchaca Dominguez, and I also lived in 1045 El Cid. I want to focus on safety and the daily impact of this street. We're already seeing unsafe driving behavior on this block today. Vehicles, they come into this cul-de-sac, they turn really quickly, they accelerate toward Santa Paula. This isn't theoretical, it's happening right now. The street design contributes to it, especially at the elbow near the cul-de-sac where Jesus and his wife live. And the yellow guardrail that's already at 504 and 10500, that site exists for a reason, that guardrail. And it's there because cars have been coming in too fast and too close to the home. If you see it, it's bent, all those cars are coming in fast. So that means this is already a known safety condition, right? Adding more units means more vehicles, more turning movements, more entries and exits, and on a street that's already showing that strain. And now we have new sidewalks, thank you to the city, right? Being used by both the elders and the children. That increases that risk. This is not just about more housing, it's about what happens when you add intensity to a street that already has safety challenges. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Erica Ortiz Joyner.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Erica Ortiz Joyner. I strongly oppose a rezoning proposal because it will fundamentally alter the character of our small, close-knit neighborhood. The increased density will strain our existing infrastructure, create more traffic, and reduce the sense of safety and quiet that we all value so much. I hope you can reconsider the impact on the residents like myself who have lived here for decades. Everyone in this area knows each other for many, many years. We are basically familia. There's a level of comfort and security that money cannot buy. So I hope that you reconsider all that. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no more speakers.
There's another speaker, Marian.
I'm so sorry. Mr. Carlos Menchaca.
Buenas noches, buenas tardes. My name is Carlos Menchaca. I live at 10485 El Cid across the street. And I'm also here speaking against this proposal. And the applicant is requesting two things today in this one action: a rezoning from R1 to R2 and a variance to exceed the R2 limit to 10 units. And that's what we're talking about today. But even under the requested zoning, this project does not comply. Staff has already recommended against exceeding the 8-unit cap. That alone should give us pause. Second, this site sits within a subdivision that is overwhelmingly R1, with a future land use designation of suburban residential. This is not a transition zone or a corridor, and you keep hearing that over and over again. It's an interior neighborhood street. Third, approving both a zoning and a variance here sets a precedent, something that I've been hearing you all talk about today with other applications. It signals that similar lots in this neighborhood may be considered for increasing density beyond what the code already offers. So I want to be clear, this is not opposing housing. Zoning already allows for 8 units in the R2. The question before you, though, is whether we go beyond that on this street, on this location. We have not heard a public benefit that justifies this increase. A zoning change creates value. It increases development potential, residential, rental potential, ultimately a profit. That is part of why we are all here tonight in a public forum debating this request. So that much is clear. But if the broader goal is to truly address housing needs responsibly, then that conversation should happen through a citywide process, a citywide planning process, not one parcel at a time, and not through an isolated exception for an interior neighborhood street. So this commission and the city have an opportunity to lead a broader public conversation about where additional density makes sense, where it's safe, where infrastructure can support it, and how growth can occur responsibly with community engagement across Socorro. Now, importantly, the city has already adopted a Socorro 2040 plan. I'm beginning to process that. It's a big document, but I'm reading it. And this comprehensive planning exists so that growth decisions are guided by this broader vision. That's not happening here. So good planning is not measured simply by how many units are being added, but by whether growth fits in the context of the infrastructure surrounding it. So commissioners, earlier tonight you talked a little bit about some of the precedent that you get set, so I'm hoping that you can bring that sentiment here tonight. I understand the pressure of local governments that you're facing. So there's always concern that standards, if they're not too high, then people will walk away. I think I even heard it tonight, that applicants will walk away. But really what we're doing is we're setting a threshold, and we're saying, if you want to build, this is how you build, we're going to do it together, but this is it. This is how we do it. And we're asking you to not make an exception tonight, and instead we're asking for 3 things. 1, deny the application tonight. because it has the variance for the 10 units. If you want to reconsider an R2, let's talk about the zoning. I'll invite you to come to the neighborhood and you can see what we're talking about, so you can have eyes on it. And then 3, really make sure that as we're moving through safety and standards here, that you're understanding that this interior street needs your support, but not there and not in more zoning, more out of scale apartments. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
We have no other speakers.
Okay, so we will close public hearing at 6:41.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 8, Block 4, Villa España, located at 10484 El Cid, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential, with a variance from Section 46-260, Section 2, to allow for 10 dwelling units exceeding the 8 minimum permittable units in an R2 zoning district. Mr. Ruiz?
Thank you, Yadira. Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Diego Ruiz, with the planner with the City of Socorro. We will be continuing with the rezoning request of the property located at 10484 El Cid Drive. The rezoning request pertains to Lot 8, Block 4 of the Villa España subdivision. The property owner, Marisela Telles, is represented by David Olguin from EPG Planning Consultants. The property consists of approximately 24,276 square feet, which are 0.56 acres. It is currently zone R1, which allows for single-family residential use. The summary of the request is to rezone the property to R2, which allows for medium density residential development, and a variance to allow for 10 units, which exceeds the 8 maximum units permitted under R2 zoning. Staff recommends approval of the 8 maximum permitted units, excluding the variance. Here's the zoning map depicting the property with the red outline and colored yellow signifying the R1 single-family residential zone. Additionally, the surrounding properties include multiple residential and commercial zones. The property is located within the Villa España subdivision, which was platted in June of 1978. The subdivision consists of primarily single-family residential lots, specifically 54 R1 lots, 1 R2 lot, and 2 C2 lots. Next is the future land use map showing the subsequent zones. According to the Socorro 2040 comprehensive plan, the future land use designation for this area is suburban residential. This area image provides context to the surrounding area. As you can see, the property is integrated with an already developed residential neighborhood. Here we have site pictures. The first picture being the view of the property as seen from El Cid Drive. And the second picture is a close-up of the property inside the dwelling inside the property. The public notice map currently shown illustrates the surrounding properties on a 200-foot radius, to which they were sent the following public notice letter shown here. The development plan proposes a total of 10 dwelling units on the property that include 2 existing units and 8 additional units. This exceeds the R2 zone maximum of 8 units in total, which is why the variance request is included. Here are the elevations of the apartments. Summary of the request is for approval of a rezoning from R1 single-family residential to R2 medium-density residential, with the variance to allow for 10 dwelling units exceeding the 8 maximum permittable units in R2 zoning district. And presently, staff and the applicant's representative are available to answer any questions.
What, for the ordinance 46, the one stated up there, 46-260, what's the math that's being used there to show that the 8 units are allowed? What's the formula there?
I think on the ordinance, it just says that the maximum dwelling units will be 8. That's the number that it's giving.
15 per acre.
15 per
15
acre.
dwelling units per acre for R2.
Okay. How many? 15?
So this is about half an acre, right?
Yeah. I'll make a comment. Hadn't we reviewed where there was an ordinance where it was allowable for a duplex on half acre, and we didn't want to cross that limit? That's what we were going to try to keep it at? Isn't that what we're referring back to? I mean, I wouldn't want to open a can of worms, 8 units even, within half an acre. That's just way too much. Not only that, for the sake of the residents, I mean, we're disturbing older people, grandkids, et cetera. I mean, I'm okay with a duplex in half an acre or a quarter of an acre at the most, right? So maybe allowing for 2 units, because we can't tell, again, right, residents, we can't tell owners what to do or not to do with their land, right? So if they have the space, an additional duplex on half, and at that point it would be 4 units on half acre at most, which is what we've always been trying to keep it, right? Let's say you have your own current residence, you live in the front, you have to now convert a living quarter in the back. Something like that would be allowable. But 8 units within a residential area, to me, I'll tell you right off, my stance is a no.
Well, I think the biggest issue I have is that it is currently in R1, but it's operating with apartments already.
Correct.
Am I right?
Yes,
It's operating-
and I think
It's
that.
operating as an R2.
Correct. So staff did some research, and the applicant could also answer, but the duplex was in existence before the city's zoning ordinance of 1989, but I don't have any record of them or the original, or of anyone coming to request a legal non-conforming status or letter for that property. And staff and the applicant can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, so.
That duplex existed before the city reincorporated and established zoning ordinances.
Oh, okay, so it was never identified as an R1 or an R2 or as zoning, is what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
Okay, but I thought I saw in here that the zoning, the plat was recorded in 1978, and you had 54 R1s, and you had 1 R2. Am I right?
Was that R2 a zoning change?
Okay, because it said there was only 1 R2.
So that is, we can check to see if that's a zoning change, or if the original zoning for that whole area was just a blanket R1 with the idea or the motivation that over time, they would all develop into R1 as the legal non-conforming statuses were lost, but we did not find any record of a legal non-conforming request or letter for this property. Just anecdotal records that say that was a duplex prior to '89.
Okay.
But we can check if that other R2, that is an R2 in the neighborhood, if that was a zoning change, or if that was something that was identified at the time.
Okay.
To me, it's just that we can't, to 8 units within a residential area, it's just disturbing residents. I mean, this is people that have been there, established there. I'm ready to make a motion. If nobody else has comments or questions.
So I agree with Mr. Raza. The current ordinance that giving 15 units per acre, those 15 units on 1 full acre works. It works well. It's a large parcel. It's 43,000 and something square feet. But what we've been doing is working backwards on that. And if you do the math, it comes out to about 2,900 square feet per unit. And so you take the 24,000 that this parcel has and you divide by the 2,900, it gives you 8.35. And so that needs to be addressed with the new code. It really does, because it brings us to this issue time and time again. In the past, we've been doing a duplex for every 10,000 square feet. On this one, I'd be maybe vote yes and give them that fifth one because of the 4,276 square feet extra that they have.
Well, just an additional, not a fifth one, right? Because they already have a duplex, so it would just allow another duplex.
Total. I'm thinking total.
Okay.
Total, so it's 5 unit. So if we go on what we've done in the past,
Yeah.
we're not changing anything that we haven't looked at. It's a duplex for every 10,000 square feet on these infill lots.
Yeah.
Specifically, for the reasons that you stated. This one is going to 8 as a recommendation. I understand why, because we're following the local numbers that are in the books right now. 10 is, I mean, it's way out there.
Yeah.
But I think the applicant might be present. I'd like to hear from the applicant to see if they may, is that okay?
Yes.
Good evening, Commissioners and Director. My name is David Hogan. I'm with EPG Planning Consultants. We're in agreement with staff going with the 8, and working with the current laws that are on the books. So we have no problem with that.
Right, but I think the problem is, I don't think anybody's on board with adding another 8 or whatnot. And I think with the calculations that what Mr. Estrada was doing is in the past, we've passed some of them with duplexes on every 10,000 square feet. And that's, again, these are just our recommendations, right? You still go to city council and then it goes to them or whatnot, but I think you're saying that we just add, if the applicant was willing to just build another 3, so a total of 5, so that kind of the math that we were kind of following, kind of sticking to that, but
then
I don't know.
we also got to keep in mind when we've approved them is because they do the lot splits.
Right.
Here, they're not even doing the lot split. Not only that, they're considering it full straight. It'd still be under the same address. When we've usually done for every 10,000 acres, because they go through a lot split, there's no way to split this lot.
Yeah, my biggest concern is that we're taking a residential
Yeah,
area and we're gonna
making it all apartments.
We're gonna start chopping it up.
Exactly.
And I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Me too.
So the residential area here is already set. I think in other cases that we've approved, they were already R2s.
or empty lots.
Or empty lots.
Or exactly,
Or
or
we already had a density of a few R2s out there. Okay, and this is not the case here, okay? We have one R2, which was back in 1978, okay? And you have 54 R1s, and I'm not comfortable with that, so.
Mr. Torres?
I'm in agreement.
Anybody have any other questions?
No.
No question?
But I'm gonna make a motion to deny the rezoning request.
I will second.
I have a motion made by Yolanda Rodriguez to deny, second by Osvaldo Reza. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays?
I'm gonna say nay. I think we should allow something on there, but up to 5. But denying the request altogether, I'm gonna say nay.
Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 9, consider and take action on the proposed approval of a replat for Haciendas del Valle Unit 2, replat H, being a replat of Lot 5, Block 10, Haciendas del Valle Unit 2, and located at 321 Valle Hermoso Drive, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas. Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Yadira.
Mr. Chairman, can we take a 5-minute bathroom break?
Recess? Recess, yes.
Before we, for that,
Yeah, just make a motion to go to a recess for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Need to make a motion to take a 5-minute recess.
Second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to take a break, second by Isidro Torres. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried.
Okay, everybody, we are back from recess at 7:02.
Thank you. We were on item number 9. Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Yadira. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Yure Rodriguez, planner with the City of Socorro. We'll continue with the next item on the agenda, item number 9. This is a replat application for the property at 321 Vallehermoso Drive. We'll now proceed with this general information overview of the property. It is located at 321 Vallehermoso Drive. Legal description is Lot 5, Block 10, Haciendas del Valle, Unit 2. Property owner is Rosa Almunia, who is given permission to Mr. Amaya, here present. Representative is GRV Integrated Engineer Solutions, LLC. Lot size is 0.47 acres. Zoning, it's an R1 single-family residential, and current land use is residential. Summary of request. Request is for approval of a replat for Haciendas del Valle Unit 2, replat H. And staff recommends approval of the replat for Haciendas del Valle Unit 2. Replat H. Now we have the zoning map. Here the subject property is outlined in red. The yellow shading represent the R1 zone, single family residential. Now we have an aerial image of the property where it's outlined in red, and it's located along Vallehermoso Drive and developed with a single residential structure situated toward the southern portion of the lot. Then we have some photos of the property. The top image shows the frontage along Vallehermoso Drive. The bottom left image shows the left side of the property, which will correspond to proposed Lot 1. And on the right, it's a view of the property from the right side, proposed Lot 2. This slide presents the original plat for Haciendas del Valle. It was recorded in 1987, which included 184 residential lots, and the subject property is outlined in red. For a little background, this property, the applicant was granted 3 variances by the Board of Adjustment, by BOA, on March 26, 2026. This included a variance for an existing accessory structure encroaching into the side yard setback, a variance allowing the accessory structure to remain in front of the principal structure, and a variance for a reduced side yard setback for an existing dwellings. Those variances are circled in that in yellow. And those variances were necessary for Lot 1 on the left side to proceed with the replat process, and they were approved. Okay, this is the replat submitted by the applicant, which divides the property into Lot 1 on the left side and Lot 2. Both lots meet the minimum required area of 10,000 square feet for replanting, and will include on-site stormwater ponding. Both lots keep the R1 single-family residential once they're replatted. Summary request. Request is for approval of a replat for Haciendas del Valle Unit 2, replat H. And at this time, staff and the applicant, Mr. Amaya, are available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions either. You know what? I'm just for curiosity, okay?
Yeah.
On the second lot, I'm looking at the site plan, and it shows like a big ponding area. Is there a certain reason for that? I mean, it's just,
No, there's is a design, right? What is the applicant? It's a proposal.
I'm just curious. I mean,
It's
it's
part
not.
of the drainage plan. Yes.
Toad. Nice to meet you. So I'm assuming that that huge pond that they created, GRV Engineering, it's for future purposes, either to be within that certain area. Dimensions and everything will be as soon as it's proposed to build.
Okay.
So it's
All right.
just a proposal as to where it should be located.
Okay.
Question,
Thank
are you, I'm assuming you're splitting it to be able to do a new dwelling on
Yes,
that
a
second lot?
Yes, a single family home.
Okay.
I'm good.
Make a motion, go ahead.
Yeah,
David.
just the variance on that, where the yellow circle was at, that's a setback variance, right?
Yes.
And so we're voting on that as well.
No, the BOA already approved that.
That's already approved.
Yeah.
And then what was the second variance? Was there a second variance?
It's three
The
setback.
shed.
The what?
Yes,
Three.
it's, as you could see, there's a shed circled within that area.
Oh,
And
the
it's
shed
not
is,
Yeah,
okay.
it's not at that 5-foot setback as well, but that was built before even purchasing the land.
Okay,
And it's being used
I
as
see.
a storage.
okay.
Like to make a motion to approve?
I second the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize, gentlemen. Who seconded the motion?
No.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo to approve, second by Rafael Carrillo. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 10, presentation and discussion of the draft review of the Unified Development Code, UDC. Ms. Loreen?
Excuse me, I would like to, I have a personal matter that I need to leave for, and I wanted to see if I could be excused.
Of course. Miss, thank you for joining us today, Mr. Arroyo.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. David, I think you want to come.
Mr. Estrada.
And I apologize for that.
No,
I
of
couldn't
course
get out
not.
of it.
Understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Mr. Andrew Arroyo is leaving at 7:09.
Thank you. Yadira? Can you acknowledge that Mr. Estrada is taking the...
And Mr. David Estrada will be
Chair.
taking over as chair at 7:10.
Thank you, Yadira. Joining us today for another discussion on the UDC is Victoria Chavez with Able City. So I'll let her start her presentation.
All right, they're just going to put the slides up right now. Good to see everyone again. What we wanted to do was continue the discussion because some conversation with the stakeholders, they just felt like it was getting a little rushed, so we decided we should do a little bit more review and discuss with you guys some of the changes and go a little bit on the niche side of what these are happening in the UDC. Is that the clicker I can flip in? No? Okay, yeah, you can change it. Again. Okay, so just as a review, again, this UDC was built upon from the comprehensive plan that you guys have. So looking at the policies and the goals, and then also with the stakeholder engagement and talking with you guys as well. Can you change the slide here? Again, so the main point of the UDC, consolidation, clarity, and usability, visual standards, and modernization. So, again, as you see here, we have our chapters. So in the proposed UDC, we have authority, we have zoning districts, development and design standards, accessory uses and accessory structures, subdivision regulations, environmental management, utilities, building construction, nonconformities, administrative bodies and approvals, permits and procedures, enforcement, historic landmarks and Mission Trail Historic District, and then of course appendix with definitions and submittal requirements. And one more time. So we're gonna discuss some of the few topics that are really in focus, starting with our accessory dwelling units. In your existing code, right now, ADUs are kind of silent. It's talked in your section 46-624 that no more than one principal structure housing is permitted in use, may be allowed on a single lot, and most of it's for accessory storage buildings. And then if you look at the section following that in 46-623, the accessory structures cannot be used for habitation, cannot be for that erected until the principal structure is at least 50% complete. So looking at the procedures to even make a accessory dwelling unit currently, there needs to be land subdivide, planning procedures, other procedures, maybe like rezoning. So it kind of makes it a big barrier for ADUs or casitas to really be accomplished here in Socorro. So looking at what the UDC is proposing is we wanted to expand upon allowing for ADUs. So it's touched upon in Chapter 2 in zoning districts on where it is permitted, which is a variety of zoning districts, and then also expanded on the regulations in Chapter 4 with the accessory uses and accessory structures. So right now, as you can see in Chapter 4, it creates a dedicated regulatory pathways for ADUs. It is defining what ADUs are for and how they should be located on the same lot with the primary single-family residence. Permitted zoning districts is in the agriculture, rural estates, R1, R2, and R2A. And then it needs to meet the criteria designed to protect the neighborhood and character of the existing neighborhoods, because a lot of people are worried that it might be changing or turning into multifamily. We want to prevent that from happening, making these accessory structures. So we make sure it's capped at 800 square feet, or it's 50% of the gross floor area of the primary structure, so with the maximum of 1,200 feet. And then also there still needs to be that 5-foot separation from the primary structure and the detached ADUs, and with setbacks that mirror the zoning districts on there. And then moving on with additional standards, we really wanted to require that the property owner has to be occupying either in the main structure or in the accessory dwelling unit. So this would be recorded in a convenient with the county, so real properties records. It requires one additional off-street parking space for ADUs that are exceeding that 800 square feet, and then ADUs be physically integrated in place in the rear for detached to minimize those visual impacts. Another aspect that's in the UDC is the adapted reuse incentive, which is in Chapter 4. So it's conversion of existing structures into ADUs. This includes structures that aren't really meeting the modern frontage for building standards, and it provides that they have to maintain their existing wall and height. So moving on, or right before I move on, I just want to ask if anyone has questions on ADUs at this moment. No? Okay. So landscaping and buffering. As of right now in your existing code, this is another aspect where it's kind of not really mentioned about. It creates this inconsistencies with the visuals upon emerging properties. It also, the buffering really relies on your generic wall requirements. So it's very vague. It talks about how its 8-foot fence is for commercial zones with continuous access or connections to residential. And it's missing vegetative screening materials as well. So in the proposed UDC, what we have is in Chapter 3, there is a landscaping article, Article 3.02, and it goes into the details of landscaping standards. This is the type of plants, the buffering, the screening, and then it also follows that with the next article, which is fencing standards, which includes the fencing, screening, and buffering. Big things that just wanted to highlight here is mandating a specific percentage of the property's areas to be landscaped. Also, tree preservation and planting. We want to be protecting the existing trees there and requiring planting of new ones, often very specific on the types and sizes. And then the material, specifically in C2 and industrial zones, now require durable masonry rather than just simple wood fencing. And this is just examples. I kind of broke this up. In the actual UDC, it's a full image. I just wanted us to hone in on each of these. So there's a type A, B, and C. So type A, there's, as you can see, A1, A2, and A3. A1 is the buffer, so it has to be a 10 feet deep buffer. A2 is 35 feet of the center tree spacing, and A3 is the 6-foot masonry wall along the property line. We'll move on to the next slide. Type 2B is B1. It has 20 feet deep buffer. We have 25 feet for B2 for the center tree spacing, and B3 for the 6-foot masonry property line wall. And then type C. C1, 35 feet deep buffer, 15 feet of the center tree spacing, and again, the same with the 6-foot. And as you can see here, this table breaks down how each of the zoning districts, when they're adjacent to other zoning districts, what type it would fall under. So for example, you can see, let's go to C2 district going down. And if you go to the first one to RE, it has to meet to type B. So if we can go up 2 times just to go back to type B, it has to meet those requirements for the spacing and buffering. Alrighty, next one. Any questions? No? Okay. So parking standards. Here we did change quite a bit. I wanted to really focus on your warehousing parking. As of right now, you kind of have it layered. So you have the floor area, office space, truck docks, all these different elements that apply to it, and it can kind of get complex with it. So in the UDC, we try to simplify it with just having the warehousing, industrial uses, and the parking from there. So as you can see, you have what your code is now, how it's broken down. And if you go to the next slide. And then the UDC, Chapter 3, again, development standards, there is a parking, Section 3.01.03, and we try to standardize the baseline. So for warehousing and pretty much a lot of the industrials, it's 2 spaces per 1,000 square foot. So this really applies for a lot of those industrial uses. We wanted to remove those layered calculations, so not really having that office ratios and things like that. We didn't really want to do too much case by case unless there was a specific use that we didn't list on there. So we wanted to really have the baseline as flexible in real world conditions. This is just an example again of showing what the UDC parking requirements can be and look like. So you have the category of uses and then the use type and then the parking ratios, any reduction opportunities, or any notes that we just wanted to apply for the reasons for these. Alrighty, plat reviews. This is a big conversation, especially when we were talking for the stakeholder meetings. We wanted to make sure that we weren't applying too much work for planning and zoning, nor putting too much work for the planning department. So we had the preliminary plat being reviewed and the final plat being approved and reviewed by the planning and zoning, as well as a replat, whereas a minor plat, amending plat, commons plat, and plat vacation are all by the planning and zoning department here. I wanted to see, before we move on, any questions on this, because we know with the stakeholders, they wanted to make sure that you guys understand the process of where your authority would come in for these. Yeah? Okay. All right, next. Okay, and I don't know if you guys noticed, we hung up a few of them around the building as well, but we did share out the flyers, so the flyers out and about. The UDC is still up and running. I haven't heard any comments back yet from the public, other than what we heard from our stakeholder meetings. But if more information comes out, we'll let you guys know. So with that, I'll open the floor for any comments. I actually wanted to go a little bit deeper about your comment earlier of the rezoning to R2 and the densities and what problems you were seeing with that, actually.
So you're opening that?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with that. Thank you.
Well, okay, so I know there's an open invitation to come talk to you, right? Okay, so, and that's one of the things that's been on my mind because we consistently see that, and we gotta look at it on an individual basis, and so we've discussed it in the past. So the current formula states 15 units per acre, or 15 dwellings per acre, and so when you use the map, we're using that, and we're breaking it all the way down to small parcels. And so it doesn't work in certain situations. We take it by case basis. So like the one you saw today, doing the math puts 8 units on a half acre, basically. It's a little bit more than half acre. So I think we'd like to see something addressing that specifically. The 15 units per acre I think works well, but anything less than that, there should be something addressing that, right? And so what we've been using is 2 units, thank you, 2 units for every 10,000 square feet. So it's basically 5,000 square feet per unit when we're in the 20,000, 30,000 square foot range of a lot or a parcel.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, but we also gotta keep in mind that it's like for undeveloped
Yes.
land per se.
Yeah, that too, because there's vacant lots that we see and then there's
Yeah, you know,
existing
we also don't wanna have
dwellings.
1 acre in the middle of a residential half-acre parcels to go put 15 units in there just
Yeah.
because it's a residential area.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
these
we gotta take it
infill-
on a case by case.
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to develop some kind of a guideline when we have these kind of cases, because like today, my biggest thing was that this was a 98% residential area, and we're getting an item that puts us on the spot to say, okay, let's take this piece and make it an R2, when it's difficult for us because we all live, either we live in a residential area or we live in a mixed area, and we know what kind of issues we have with that. And it would be nice to have a guidance to say that when an applicant comes and you have an area that is 90% or 98% residential, should we even bring it up to say, so that we don't put the applicant through this, doing all these apartments and drawing and going to an engineering, is for us to stop there and say, we're not going there, because 98% of these properties are an R1. I think that was my biggest concern today. And so we either say no after they've spent all this money to engineer and to do 15 apartments, or we get them at the beginning and say, these are residential and we recommend that this is where we're gonna stay. I mean, I think we have to draw the line somewhere.
Good point.
Because like we talked before, is that, yes, we've had acre lots, and we say, yeah, we'll put 4 dwellings on there, okay? But it's in the middle of nowhere, and people haven't really come to us and said, we complain because we're trying to put something in this property, okay? And we want to give the applicant an opportunity to build something. But when we have something like today, it makes it very difficult for us, because we don't want to say that we're isolating them and, oh, you did this here, but now you're not doing this here. So is there anywhere with any town that can say, we're never gonna convert this into an R2?
It could be a little more complicated than that, just because, we can have stuff in the code that supports the type of vision for it, but if they do want to go for a rezone, they have the right to, right? And apply it. That's why when they talk to staff, staff can point them to the right direction. But I can see my big thing that I'm kind of thinking maybe we can look at is maybe breaking down, like how you said, not just having the acres on there, but having it a little bit smaller. And so it has a simplified number or breakdown of the density requirement allowance for those lots that don't really apply, that's not single family, something like that. Also, I was looking at, has to be a standard to meet to be allowed to be a rezone. So if you're rezoning from an R1 to an R2 or an R2A, you need to make sure your lot meets the standard. But I'm gonna look into it. That's something when I was hearing today, I wanna see if other cities have applied it, and if so, how, and how we can kinda implement it.
If I'm not mistaken, Victoria, wouldn't the UDC address that by the maximum percentage of the lot? I think that helps
So there
a lot.
is, yes. So for example, I believe R2, the maximum lot is 40%, whereas R2A is that 75%. So you have the maximum density, you have the maximum minimum lot area and minimum lot width, and then the maximum lot coverage. That should be some type of assistance. Also, just looking at for minimum lot areas for housing types that are outside of single family, this is in R2, duplexes need to have 8,000 square feet, whereas triplexes need 10,000. So that's maybe something that we can just
It becomes a bigger
emphasize.
formula. It adds for a bigger, more
Exactly.
direct formula of what that looks like, which I think would have solved what we sought to do.
I like that, yes. Alrighty, any other questions or aspects that we've seen in the UDC?
I have and I hope this is a quick one. I was looking at the table, and in the table in agriculture, a double wide manufactured home is allowed, but a manufactured home single wide and tiny homes weren't. Is there a reasoning behind that?
So single wide is actually,
I think it was conditional.
is it conditional? Let me look. Let me just scroll down real quick.
Like, my thought is, why be okay with the double wide but not the single wide? And especially not okay with a tiny home in agriculture.
I think the single wides are if you're replacing a new one with an old one.
Got it.
I think.
So manufactured homes, single wide, condition use, permitted districts. Manufactured homes consisting of one section, single wide, may be permitted in the Ag and RE zoning districts, subject to approval of a conditional use permit. Manufactured homes shall only be permitted within subdivisions approved by the city prior to the year of 2000. Single wide shall comply with manufactured home development character. So let me look at the Ag to see, because in the residential zoning districts use specific regulations section, it is saying it is permitted. For tiny homes, I believe we do have a condition to approve those in Ag. Let me pull it up. If not, I think it starts in rural.
I think my thought is just like, if you're allowed to put a single family home on
Ag,
an
you might as well.
AG, why not a tiny home?
Mm-hmm. No, that's valid. Let's see, I just want to find it real quick. Yeah, so we only have tiny homes for R1, R2, and R2A. So if we are okay with allowing them into Ag and RE, we can apply it to it. It matters what the density and what conditions we can apply there. So I can make a comment.
I mean, I think it'd be the more reasonable because they have the space to do it, and then per se, like for in-law quarters or something like that in the back.
And we're already allowing a single-family home.
Exactly.
Double wide, manufactured home.
We don't want to do like 20 small homes, right? Or mobile homes on RE or something like that. But yeah, like an additional small dwelling would be okay, in my opinion. Good points.
So I'll make sure to look at a way we can really apply it. Okay. Any other questions? Do we have any concerns that we've been seeing coming in a lot with either rezoning, plats, setbacks, anything like that we just want to create an emphasis on, and I can make sure?
Well, I think we had given those to Lorraine, right? The height of the buildings, the parking spaces. I think those were just like regular ones that we'd get because they weren't ordinance, and we had to do variances on those.
The location of logistics centers.
Yeah.
We already talked about wanting them outside of the core of the city, not wanting to see them inside the city center.
I know we also talked about data center detention.
Oh, yes, we've already also included recent ordinance changes that the city council approved, one being the data centers, additional requirements to show how they are going to be meeting their energy needs, and there was the detention center one as well.
Yes, I saw that.
So that's been included in the
Right.
in the UDC as well.
I think it was a max of 150 people. After that, then they had to get approval, or it wasn't approved because it was an ordinance now.
Yeah.
That a maximum warehouse could only house up to 150.
Perfect.
That's what I understood, so.
I do have a question on the legal side. So we are clear there's a certain date that the UDC draft that you have is good until, and then we're aware of that date from then until now, when the ordinances are still constantly changing, that they're gonna be updated. Like, we know there's a cutoff point, right, of when they start another draft, and, because you're aware of some of these ordinances that changed, that recently changed, so how far back, do we know what time, or like what date they go back to, or? Because this draft on the UDC process started a while back, right? So have we kept up in the interim? I know with these.
Yeah,
She's
with
been sending
different,
me-
oh yeah,
yes.
with ordinances and changes that have been changing in our current one,
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
sure that
yeah.
we're addressing them in the UDC, yes.
So I
And
would-
that the final draft, with all of the changes that we've made through our discussions here, discussions with, if we get any comments from the public in addressing those, that will be the one that we introduce
Okay.
in this next meeting.
Yeah, I
for
would say by
planning and zoning
the intro for planning and zoning, that meeting will be the date where we can't make any more revisions.
Right.
Yeah.
So originally, it was the plan to do it for this meeting, but after stakeholder and just wanting to discuss it a little bit deeper, we decided to just push it back a little bit. So
Okay.
we do have a little, about 2 weeks now.
So yeah, I just want to make sure that we caught all the ordinances in between, that there wasn't maybe a couple that got left behind in between. The last time we had a change in the code, we took everything and went digital. Things got missed at that point that were on paper, and a lot of things didn't get moved, and that's
Yeah.
why there's gaps, which is why we're having to go now and get the UDC to fill in all the gaps that we're missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to make sure we don't.
Yeah, we've been sending our changes
So I
throughout the
did-
process.
So I'm sorry. So I did see that it was posted on social media, but I didn't see that there was a deadline for people to respond. Did I miss it or?
No, that's a very good point. We can include that.
Yeah, because
from
I did see the posting, but I didn't see like.
deadline.
The deadline for you to go in and do this.
Yes. We will go ahead and post those on on those, if we can edit those or add that to the ones that have already been posted, but definitely to the ones that we'll be putting out for the rest of this week, highlighting different areas. Maybe that will help motivate folks to
Yeah,
comment.
yeah. Because I did go and click on
The link?
but it didn't open anything.
It just went to the page.
It just stayed there. It didn't take me anywhere.
Oh, okay. We'll take a look at that as well.
So you might want to look at that too, because I did click and I said, okay, let me go see. But it didn't take me anywhere. So I think if we can just make it a little bit more user-friendly, I think you might get a better response. Because I
Thank you.
mean, as it is, we do have poor response. Like nobody goes in there and looks at it. So if we can make it easier, it would definitely help. And that's it. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria.
Yes, thank you, you guys. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
Okay.
Moving on to item 11, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report. Commissioners?
Thank you, Yadira. I just have a few.
Lorraine?
I'm sorry.
Is the Commissioners?
Hi, Commissioner, I'm jumping ahead, sorry. I'm all excited to share.
I don't have anything.
Does anyone?
I don't have anything. Do you have anything?
Okay, Ms.
No.
Guido, your turn.
Okay, now for item number 12, Planning and Zoning Department Report, Ms. Quimido.
Thank you, Yadira. And I'm going to ask Alfredo if he can pull up a couple of items up onto the screen. The first of which is the Mission Trail Community Feedback. Precinct number 3 is asking for the public to provide input on a public art project. Their project is going to have 3 art pieces at the 3 missions. And the county, this is an El Paso County project, and it would be great for us to provide some input on the projects that the county will be putting forward along the Mission Trail. This is one of many community initiatives that the county is leading through their economic development department to enhance the Mission Trail. It's difficult to believe that some people have lived in El Paso their whole lives and didn't know that the Mission Trail existed, and it exists. The other item that I wanted to, so from this screen you can take a screenshot or go to the QR code to get the link to the survey and provide your feedback. This one is also available on the social media page.
I did see that there.
Yes. The MPO is currently taking public input on various documents that are important to the future of transportation in the region. The 2052 MTP, so that's the Long-Range Transportation Plan, the TIP, which is the Short-Term 4-Year Transportation Plan, and they are hosting various public meetings throughout the county. Tomorrow, they will be hosting one at the Rio Vista Center right across the street, and that starts at 5:30. This is the 2 flyers that I included in the email. But what Alfredo is currently sharing on the screen before he leaves this screen is a TxDOT website asking for public input regarding the Texas-Mexico border transportation plan. If you click on the link, you can get to a map and provide comments, and this is for a transportation plan that stretches across the whole Texas-Mexico border.
I haven't seen that one.
public comment for that, and it closes, I believe, May 26th. And this is the flyer for the MPO public meetings. This is a draft of the 2052 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, the 2027-2030 Transportation Improvement Plan. These are all important documents. They lay out transportation funding for all of the transportation projects in the region, and your input is vital to getting our voices heard for projects, and many of the projects that we mentioned today, North Loop and the expansion of the North Loop, just for example. With that, I don't have any other items.
So you have something here scheduled tomorrow?
Tomorrow, right across the street at Rio Vista at 5:30. This is being hosted by the MPO. And it would be wonderful for everyone to share this information so that we can have great attendance and provide some input into these documents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Camilo. Moving on to item number 13, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion made by David Estrada to adjourn, second by Isidro Torres. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 7:43. Thank you all for coming.